This makes you question what their determination is. If their determination is to put America and our interests at risk to help the Taliban run their country, they are on the right track. But if their determination is to fight for America, they are dead wrong for this decision. And unfortunately, this is not the first time that we've raised the issue with Biden officials who have questionable backgrounds. Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great weekend. As always, I'm here with an update on what's happened in Washington, D.C. this week. Now, we've already had so much happen in 2024, from a hearing on Afghanistan to stopping Biden's questionable attempt to funnel money into liberal activist groups. So let's get right into all of that. First up, House Foreign Affairs Committee held a hearing on President Biden's policies after the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan. You've seen the drumbeat of these hearings. Now, as we discovered last year, the Biden administration has sent more than $11 billion, billion with a B, in aid to Taliban-run Afghanistan with no clear strategy to keep the money, your money, out of the hands of the Taliban, out of the hands of terrorists. Remember, this is a country where they overran our embassy, they forced us out of the country, they've held Americans hostage, they've attacked Americans that were just trying to get to the airport to get out of the country. The list goes on and on. That's the government. They're getting billions of dollars of your money. And the problem is there's no accountability for it. They probably shouldn't get your money to begin with. The incompetence does not end there. In 2022, the Biden administration created a $3.5 billion piggy bank for humanitarian assistance in Afghanistan, but did not properly vet who was going to sit on the board of this. There's 4 board members, 2 co-chairs of the board. One of the board members is Shah-Meh Rabi. Shah-Meh Rabi was previously fired for misrepresenting his credentials about whether he's a doctor or not, as a college professor, a number of things that are definitely questionable about his background. So I took the opportunity to ask the State Department's Special Representative and Deputy Assistant Secretary for Afghanistan, Thomas West. Essentially, his mission is to advance our interests as it relates to Afghanistan. Mr. West, that's his job. Let's take a listen. Was Shah-Meh Rabi fired from Mary Washington College for, let's just say, misrepresenting his credentials, saying he was a doctor when he was not?
These allegations we were not aware of.
But just was process today, was he?
It wouldn't have changed our, I think, determination in the end.
It wouldn't have changed your determination to appoint him as a co-chair, elevate him from board member to co-chair of this, had you known that he was fired from a college for saying he was a doctor and he wasn't. That wouldn't have changed. That really goes, I really don't have to ask a lot more, because it really goes to the heart of what I wanted to get at, of what's going on at State Department about the vetting of individuals. The idea that you would say, yes, we weren't totally aware of what went on with this individual, misrepresenting their credentials, being fired from previous universities, saying that they were a member of an honor society, things that, these are allegations that we haven't asked you about all of them, you haven't confirmed all of them, but you're saying it wouldn't have changed what took place. That's disturbing to me. This makes you question what their determination is. If their determination is to put America and our interests at risk to help the Taliban run their country, they are on the right track. But if their determination is to fight for America, they are dead wrong for this decision. And unfortunately, this is not the first time that we've raised the issue with Biden officials who have questionable backgrounds. Last year, House Republicans demanded answers about Robert Malley and Ariana Tabatabai, who had alleged ties to Iran. Robert Malley had his security clearance revoked. He was responsible for negotiating the Iran nuclear deal that I totally disagreed with, that greatly benefited the Iranian regime. He had his security clearance revoked. The administration didn't tell anybody about it. They still haven't said word one about it. And we need to work to make sure that those individuals are being vetted properly, being kept out of government and doing work on behalf of we the people. That's what they're supposed to be doing, but maybe in fact doing work for these other governments. You don't lose your security clearance at that level or any other level without doing something seriously wrong. Certainly that may border on the grounds of espionage. Our government must do everything to fight for our interests, but this is exactly the opposite. I'm going to continue to hold the Biden administration accountable for these poor choices that they continue to make. I want to switch gears for a minute here. On the House floor, we passed several bills aimed at combating communist China, and it's no secret that China wants to overtake America in every single place that they can, using every tool available, from TikTok to Chinese spy balloons to going over to other countries and buying up everything they can, even in the United States of America, buying farmlands next to U.S. military bases. China has engaged in espionage to undermine our military capabilities. To challenge the United States is to take advantage of the global economy by manipulating its own currency. Now here's a quick rundown, let's just call it a 101 on how currency manipulation can work. When you go overseas to something like Europe or Japan, you would exchange dollars for other currencies like the euro or the yen. And depending on how their markets are performing, their currency value against the dollar would fluctuate up or down. For example, a dollar used to value 100 yen back in 2016, but now values maybe 150 yen because Japan sets its currency based on how Japanese markets perform. Now, on the other hand, China, the second biggest economy in the world, plays its cards differently. Rather than letting the fair market set the value of their currency, communist China pegs its own currency to the United States dollar, mooches off the global economy. Essentially, it has left American small businesses struggling to compete against these Chinese manufacturers, not just abroad, but also here in America. When we extend our hand to China to join our economy, China responded by leeching off the American people. And this is something that's gone on for years. This is why the House passed the China Exchange Rate Transparency Act this week, which would call on the International Monetary Fund, also known as the IMF, to increase accountability and oversight of China's exchange rate policies, the way that they've been taking advantage of America for years. Now, in light of the growing threats from China, we need to think long and hard about how to counter China's manipulation of our market system. I'm going to call on the Biden administration to do the right thing, as I always do. Finally, on the House floor, we passed the Stop Settlement Slush Funds Act, which would prohibit federal agencies from forcing defendants to make donations to activist groups as part of the terms of their settlement obligation. Now, as you can imagine, the federal government has a massive amount of authority over the terms of settlement agreements. But during the Obama administration, the federal bureaucrats decided to benefit their friends in left-wing activist groups by funneling money from lawsuit settlement agreements straight into the pockets of their friends. This practice came to a halt during President Trump's first year in office, but President Biden revived this swampy policy of enriching his friends through federal lawsuits, again, utilizing the federal government to go out there and conduct political operations. Keep in mind, every year the Justice Department obtains billions of dollars in lawsuit settlements. You can only imagine how much these left-wing activist groups like the National Urban League or the National Community Reinvestment Coalition that have nothing to do with the said lawsuits are benefiting from this dubious practice. Now, this is why the House stepped up to call out this unconscionable policy by passing the Stop Settlement Slush Fund Act. Now, even though it should be a no-brainer policy, it passed along party lines. House Republicans will continue to make this fight and take this fight to the administration to make sure that money that belongs to us, that belongs to we the people, does not leak out to political cronies of President Biden and his allies the way that they're always trying to do it. Now, in that, I just want to say, as always, it is an honor to serve you. I hope that you have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all around town. You all take care. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.